All right, Mr. Morvay.
Yes, sir. I'm getting in my hot seat. All right, I'll call this caucus to our council meeting to order. This evening, we have the agenda in front of us. We have no old business. We have 3 ordinances. 2 are for title only, first reading, and we have a motion. Are there any corrections or additions to the agenda?
I would like to make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1.
Okay, you want to, when we go in, can you read that then?
Sure.
Okay.
When do you want that executive?
Yeah, when do you want to go in?
Right after our meeting.
At the end of the meeting? Okay. Okay. We will go into executive session then at the end of the meeting. And then we'll come back out, and we do have a manager's meeting, and it's open to the public? It's not open to the public? Okay, all right. So, any other corrections or additions? If not, stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Patty, could you do the roll call, please?
Mr. Duffett?
Here.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Present.
Mrs. Oliver?
Yes.
And Mr. Tisch?
Here.
Okay, Mayor, do you have any proclamations or presentations this evening?
I do not.
Okay, we'll move on. Everybody received a copy of the minutes from the last council meeting. Is there any corrections or questions on those? Hearing none, they'll stand as read. Reading of communications, I'll start with Mr. Tisch.
I have no communication.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Neff?
I had a gentleman on South Broad Street talk about, wants us to be careful about planting flowers at the south end of the green. He says that if we plant tall flowers, they get in the way, in the visual way of seeing traffic coming. So I don't know, John, if you want to think about tulips or whatever, a shorter flower in the flower bed there.
Actually, the plantings that are at both ends of the green are usually recommended by the Parks Board.
Okay,
So we get that back to the next thing.
And we do have some kind of reoccurring maintenance on those, just because they do tend to start to grow up a little bit higher and do cause some visibility problems. So that's something we have been addressing on the north end, but we'll definitely start taking care of the south end as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Mayor Duffin?
I have no communication.
Okay. Mrs. Oliver?
I have none.
Okay, I have a few here. First of all, Mike is here with us, and last night we had a discussion. Chief, Maple down to Hood to 224 is a cut through, and they were having a serious problem with speeding there. I mean, talking with Mike, it's serious. And we were even thinking maybe if we could get one of those portable signs to flash, like the one behind the school, that one is really effective.
Yes. We have one available.
Yeah, and you understand, they're using it as a cut through.
Oh, yeah.
And they're flying through there, so.
It's the same one I brought up to you in the last meeting
Okay.
on his behalf.
Yeah. So, yeah, we appreciate your help with that, Chief.
We'll have to have Oops come mark the ground, and then we can put the pole in. Okay. Get with me tomorrow? Yep.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I just briefly want to touch on the election. I want to congratulate Anthony. Did prevail last night, so Anthony, congratulations. And I do want to say, I had a conversation with Mrs. Oliver today, and not everybody has
the gumption and the goals to do this, to put themselves out on the line and expose themselves. And I give Christine a lot of credit for serving for 2 years, what she's done. She's a person that we know will speak up and speak her voice, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate your service. I want to congratulate you for doing what you do. And so that's my comment on that. The Rotary is having a pancake breakfast this Sunday from 8 to 1. I happen to have tickets. This is our fundraiser. It helps us do what we do in this community. And as you all may know, Rotary is quite active in the Canfield community. So please support us. I have tickets. They're $8, and I'll be around after the meeting. Other than that, I have nothing. Wade, do you have any?
I have this. Thank you and congratulations, Anthony. And the only reason why I haven't said anything yet is because they haven't called the race yet. Because there are still provisional ballots that can't be opened for 10 days, and there's still absentee ballots, and it's just too close to call.
Yeah.
And there is a recount that's automatic, so that's why I didn't say anything yet, because we don't know the outcome yet. But congratulations, Anthony.
I may just say that I look forward to serving with each and every one of you. I've known each and every one of you throughout the years, and I truly am honored to be part of this, and I look forward to serving with each and every one of you. I have a lot to learn yet, and I have a great group to learn it from, so I just want to thank you very much, all of you.
Good. Okay. Wade, communications?
Just one quick reminder, the city offices will be closed on Monday, November 11th, in observance of Veterans Day holiday. Critical operations, obviously, police, fire will still run as normal, and then in the event there is an emergency situation with public works response, they are on call for water breaks or any nature of emergency nature that they would have to respond to. And that's all I have.
Okay. I do have one other item, and I failed to do this the last meeting, and this was a letter from Mr. McKeah to Council President, and it's regarding the traffic on residential streets within the city, particularly Glenview. Speeding above 35 is a regular event from my observations of the speed meter. In addition, there's an individual with loud exhaust that routinely disturbs the neighborhood. Let me point out there are people with serious health problems and mothers and young children on my street. These people do not need to be subject to routine, extremely loud noises. In regard to speeding, people routinely block the street, children ride bicycles, young people push baby carriages. Controlling speed is extremely important in regard to public safety. I have tried to bring these issues to council many times. Enough is enough. Where's the city council? Where's the city leadership? The city devotes a large portion of the budget to safety forces. In addition, a levy was passed to help fund the police. They are a professional and capable organization. Why can't these issues mentioned be resolved? Why do I have to address these issues via letter to council? I believe the people of Canfield have high expectations of their city council leadership and safety forces. Let's get the job done, make our streets safe, and enforce ordinances. Frank McKeah. So I just wanted to read that. Any other communications? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. The reports of committees, board, city manager, finance director, chief of police, zoning inspector, and public works superintendent. And I'll start with Mr. Tisch.
Yes, members of council, I think received a copy of the Parks Board minutes. Meeting was Tuesday. Contained in the minutes, there is a recommendation to city council. One is a motion recommending not to fund the community gardens. We had talked about that previously, and we Parks Board is withdrawing their support for that, and it was based on the fact that there have been community gardens tried apparently at the Presbyterian Church. My understanding was there were a couple of people that signed up, but only one really came through and followed through, so there wasn't much interest. And some of the concerns mentioned by members of the Parks Board were just that if we were to go ahead and go with that program, would we have people sign up? So their recommendation at the meeting Tuesday was to withdraw support for that. The second recommendation they made to City Council was a member of the Parks Board would be exempt from the term limits, and they have chosen J.T. Whitehouse as a member of the Parks Board that has been a long-serving member of the Parks Board, and they are recommending that J.T. be the long-term member of the Parks Board. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Mr. Knapp, we did not have a meeting last week. Mike, can I bother you that, did we change our meeting till tomorrow night, 7th, the 7th?
No, it's next week.
Okay, so it's still on the 14th? Okay, I had it in my calendar, I'm sorry, so I thought that the meeting was going to be tomorrow. It'll be next week, so I'll report after that meeting.
Great. Mayor Duffin?
Yes, I have the mayor's monthly report for the month of October. Gross collections, $8,781.59. Total payouts, which go to the state of Ohio and also to the treasurer, $1,314. So the net collections to the city are $7,467.59.
Great, thank you. Mrs. Oliver?
Our meeting was changed to next Tuesday because it was supposed to be yesterday.
Okay, so the fire district, the building on Summit and 224 that burnt down was a result of an electrical short in a neon sign, and that's what caused the roof to ignite. That building, if you've driven by, has been now demolished, removed. There was a hang-up because there was about 12 different insurance companies involved, and so they were all waiting to get the approval to go ahead and tear it down. It's now tore down. In October, we responded to 185 calls. 65 of those calls were transports to the hospital with the ambulance. And that concludes my fire district report. Mr. Rapp.
Okay, so we've been spending a lot of our time on leaf pickup. I'm sure you've seen us out. We've been doing our locates for the mapping program that we're doing with Ohio ARCAT. So we go out and we locate all the utilities, and they come and they use their GPS units to mark those. And storm sewer maintenance, we're trying to be proactive with the storm sewers. As you know, like the leaves on the street, they'll end up in the catch basins. We've been going around catching those just in case we do get a rain or something, so we can make sure that those are clean. And that's all I have.
Great. Christine Clayton.
The Ohio Municipal League notified us last week that House Bill 382 has been reintroduced in the General Assembly, and it would prohibit municipal corporations from levying an income tax on non-resident corporations for personal services or on net profits from a sole proprietorship owned by a non-resident. This will not be very good for us, and we will continue to follow it. OML will probably ask for council to pass some kind of a motion or resolution in the future against it if it moves forward.
Yeah. And what bill was that, Christine?
House Bill 382.
Okay, thank you.
Do we know who introduced that bill? Do we know who introduced the bill?
Representative Jordan.
Do we have an idea how much income it could affect us offhand, or
Mostly any businesses that we would get money from.
their employees' income tax? We would not get that. None of it.
None of it.
Wow, why are they introducing this? Jeez.
The state will collect it and then remit, right?
Maybe.
The state will collect it,
That's, the
take
way they
their
have it,
scrape and then remit it back to the state.
Also,
the way they're saying is that we won't be able to get it at all, Mark.
Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
even better.
so we have an income tax on the books, but those
But
people.
they're gonna tell us what we're allowed to have
Right.
in our income tax, again.
Oh, well, they don't, I don't think they got a chance of winning that, do they? Because they've been trying to give back local control for a long period of time, and then when we do the income tax, now they're taking it away? Yeah, that doesn't seem right.
Does not.
Yeah.
You were going to say,
Yeah.
Mr. Tisch? No. okay.
Would that include like Youngstown, a city like Youngstown, those
Would be
2.75?
Cleveland. every
Oh,
city.
my
Yeah, I mean,
God.
the big cities will definitely be fighting it. It was introduced last year, so this is another, they've reintroduced it. If it makes it out of committee, then OML, I'm sure, will ask for all the cities to pass something against it.
So we start fighting against it.
Yeah. Mr. Cook?
For the month of October, we issued 35 permits for evaluation of $361,212. You can see Ace Hardware opened up. Giannano's Pizza is due to open in January. They're renovating, putting the cooler out back. That's their trying for Super Bowl. That's what they're hoping. Next Thursday, we're going to bring up the RO and B3 setbacks on East Main and planning. Try to get them more like we did in the B1 district, closer to the street. That's one of our proposals. And still trying to rezone that to a B3. We got a recommendation from, what was it, MS? MS, that's what their plan is in the comprehensive plan, so maybe we'll go forward with that in planning. We'll try to push that through and see where we're gonna go. And that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, by the way, thank you for removing the signs that we did. We did a good job, first day right out the door. Happy with that.
On East Main Street, you're talking about east of Hillside Drive?
East of Hillside,
Correct.
yes.
The irony there, and we talked about it at staff meeting, is that about 10 years ago, we objected to a zone change. We denied a zone change there. And it went to the Court of Appeals to keep it RO. And now our comprehensive plan
Yeah.
is willing to change it.
Yeah. For next year, Mike, I'll buy a 15-foot roll. I only had a 10-foot this year.
I've got a couple. John, that was too big. 6 foot was probably all that you did.
Wade?
Don't have much, so we've been meeting with health insurance brokers over the last month, close to making the decision. We received our renewal rate from Anthem at 35%, so that came at the beginning of October. Christine, myself, HR Director, Chief Colucci have been meeting diligently with other brokers, looking at a number of different options, and we've got the last meeting set tomorrow with the final broker to then hopefully make a decision and utilize some different strategies to get that renewal rate more acceptable.
Yeah.
And then we did receive a communication from the Cardinal Joint Fire District regarding the lease for the station number 1. Chief Hutchinson has requested myself to meet with him and Rich Russo. I didn't know if council wanted to designate somebody from the council's perspective to also sit in on those meetings. Obviously, John is the fire board representative of city council. That would be, I guess, my suggestion or recommendation, if the council would desire to do that.
And, you know, because I have to be removed from that decision, maybe I'm not the right person to sit in on that. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's the same as voting on it. I think you're right, you know, when we're the landlord and you're the tenant. But I think in terms of your historical knowledge of the district, it probably makes sense.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to do that then, yeah.
Why would we have a representative of the Parks Board that isn't going to represent city council's position on it? It seems to me that's your job. Do it.
There you go.
But they know,
And I think you should be allowed to vote on it. I think that is wrong. Because here's the thing, if the township, if there's issues with the station, what number is that, 3 over there? That's on Messerly?
Oh, Messerly.
Yeah, if they're voting on issues of some sort of funding in the township and there's members there that are on that board, you know, what's the difference? What's the difference? I mean, because he's our representative of the city. Just,
I know.
hey, we're pretty gracious to, you know, yeah.
I agree.
So I think we should fight that. He should be able to vote, be in every executive session, or the joint fire board is not, you know, well, why would we have him on there?
Yeah, well, the Ohio Attorney General has ruled very clearly to the contrary, against common sense in my opinion as well.
Really?
Yep. But you can participate, you just can't vote. I don't think you should ever be excluded from executive sessions at the Cardinal Joint Fire District, and we've talked about this since then. But when the city's conducting business with the fire district, there's an inherent conflict, according to the attorney.
So if he couldn't vote, then that would be one less number representing the city, so then that leaves one that may represent another entity
Oh, yeah.
with the majority.
Yeah.
There are 5 members to the fire board. One's a township representative, one's a city representative.
But the township representative would not be able to vote if the district was leasing a piece of property from the township, right? That's all this is the city's on the other side of the deal. That's the problem. So if the fire district was leasing space from the township, that township rep would be unable to vote.
Makes no sense to me.
I'm not saying it does, I'm just telling you.
So, Council President Morvay, I'll circle you in on the meeting.
Yeah.
We haven't set a date yet, that's why I was
Okay.
informed them.
Okay,
I couldn't agree more.
that's fine. That's fine, because I, more than anybody, I want to resolve this. So, absolutely.
And then one last thing, the RFQ for the Redgate water, wastewater engineering services went out on 2 Tuesdays ago. The deadline for that is November 15th for the RFQs. Last council meeting, we talked about Councilmember Tatian, Morvay, myself, will kind of sit down, go through those, and then bring kind of that recommendation for award for that RFQ to council. And then the items on the agenda, we can discuss when we individually address those items.
Okay. Christine, I have a question about Wade's report. On our Anthem, did we go back to Anthem and ask for relief on that 35% increase?
We have not as of yet because we have not decided on a broker.
Okay, because I do that as a living, and
Yeah.
I've gone back to Anthem United Medical Mutual this year. They're horrible, the rates this year, and I've gotten relief from those, from off of that.
Yeah, we've just been interviewing brokers right
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Once we decide on a broker, then we'll maybe have them contact Anthony.
Yeah, we've discussed that, and I mean, with the 35% renewal, a lot of indications is we could get some relief. The no-shop rate, I believe, is the terminology, but still gonna come in probably 25. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get a significant relief.
Right.
The disturbing part was last year, we essentially
We had a
had a 0%
With
renewal
Anthem.
rate with Anthem, and it's almost, you know, they're making up for the deal that was given last year. So we're exploring all options at this point. We should be still in line with getting everything marked for the 1/1 renewal date for all our employee benefits, medical, dental, and vision.
And our renewal is January 1?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Counselor, do you have anything for us?
You know what, I don't really have a formal report. We have a lot of ordinances kind of in various steps of the process. Some are going to be in planning, others we're still speeding up a little bit. So a lot of ordinances are going to be coming your way. But I'll reserve my report for executive session and the manager's meeting. if that's
Gotcha.
okay.
Okay. Chief Calucci.
Good evening. Address Halloween real quick. It was a successful night. The weather didn't cooperate, but it just seems like it never does on Halloween. We had, our dispatchers took a few calls that suggest both ways, move Halloween, don't move Halloween. If we move Halloween, people are gonna come from other communities and then they'll have the money to buy enough Snicker bars and stuff. So we heard it all. I'm sure you guys heard it all as well. But it was a good night. I got to thank Giant Eagle. Giant Eagle always donates to what we hand out, the city does. And this year they told us whatever you buy, we'll match half of. So their contribution was $275. So It was a great night. We made the best of it, and the kids enjoyed it, and we went through all the candy, so I don't have to worry about cavities in our dental rates going on in the police department. We will participate in the Rotary Pancake Breakfast this weekend. We were invited by Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole Ramsey.
So we're excited to do that. I know they had us there last time, and the large group, and I think, if I remember correctly, we stole the show was the Sheriff's Department and their drones.
Yeah.
So, of course, the pancakes were good.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I just feel compelled to address the letter that my good friend, Mr. McKeer, wrote regarding the vehicle with the loud exhaust. That vehicle, that individual was cited 4 separate times. He was dealt with in mayor's court. I know for a fact that he changed the exhaust over on the car. I have since spoke to the individual since he was cited, trying to work with the family. I don't know that we're ever going to reach perfection, and then so there's a limit on us being able to get in the middle of somebody's free will and what we could do from an executive side of things, enforcing the laws. So we're certainly on it, trying to develop a rapport with the individual, and he's actually at YSU in the criminal justice program. But he's a good kid. We're working with it. Regarding the speed on that street, we acknowledge that speeding is an issue. It's always been a hot topic, and I don't know that it's ever going to go away. But speed on Glenview, we do have that stationary sign there, and I'll just give you a snapshot from 1 month. The average speed was 27 miles per hour. The speed limit's 25. I don't know that, I'm not going to put anybody on the spot, but I don't, so we have a gray area that we work within, and it's called discretion. And similar to what the mayor has in mayor's court, he's got discretion to do what he feels is appropriate. And so I don't know that anybody up there is going to endorse us writing tickets for 27 and a 25 mile an hour zone. We also view it from a perspective of injuries, and Frank and I have been back and forth on this. We haven't had accidents, we haven't had injuries. I'm not going to say that's the case citywide, but talking about Glenview, we haven't had any. And again, that average speed's 27. So there's a fine line of when you start writing tickets and when you feel like you could educate somebody as a police officer on why you should pay more attention, and when you drive, and why you should obey the speed limits. We have 7 of the signs out right now. Certainly acknowledge that Hood Drive is a cut through from 224. A lot of people take it to get to 62 to head back into Salem or in that area, that vicinity, or out in Canfield Township. But already talked to a few residents on Hood since the last council meeting when it was brought up. Needed to determine where to put that sign, and it looks like the best place for that sign is going to be catching southbound traffic from 224 as you approach Maple. That's going to be the cut-through area. So that we got to, John and I will get together, Oops will come out, Mark, we have to have the area checked for lines. They'll put the sign in the ground and then we'll mount it. Our mobile speed signs are tucked away for the winter. And Frank was on the police levy committee. We're doing everything we can. Perfection's the goal, but I don't know that we're ever going to get there. We're all, I'll never forget the Callahan. We received a signed petition from residents on Callahan for speeding on their street. And if we wrote 11 tickets, 9 people that got tickets lived on Callahan. And one lady acknowledged it. She's like, I know, I just signed it, I apologize. But the bottom line is we do exercise discretion. We try to be visible. We don't want to, if we were writing tickets to everybody that was a mile or 2 over the speed limit, I don't know that we'd ever pass another police levy. And hey, if they're going to cut income tax, police levy may be the only way we're funded, or our department. a lot of city departments could get cut big time. So I acknowledge what you said. I know we have a meeting lined up, and you and I will continue to work together to do everything we can to keep it as safe as possible and do everything we can to prevent distracted driving and speed. But I just want to let you know that we are addressing that issue.
Sure, thanks, Chief. Yeah, I said this the last council meeting, but I was in Berlin Center and I seen that, I didn't see the little boy get hit by the car, but I seen him laying in the road after the accident. And that is still ingrained in my head. And if I could ingrain that in everyone's head that drives a vehicle, it'll slow you down about 15, 20 mile an hour. Because I know I absolutely think about that when I get in a car now, is how fast something can happen. That kid must have got out of the car, ran across the road, and maybe if that driver was going 5 mile an hour slower, 2 mile an hour slower, that little boy would have been alive today. But so that's still ingrained in my head. I wish I could ingrain that in everyone's head. You know, please slow down, slow down. It's not worth it, life. So, thank you, Chief.
Yep, thank you. We'll definitely address the issue.
Okay, at this time, I would entertain questions from the board, if any questions.
I have a nice story to share about our fire department EMTs. I met a gentleman yesterday who told me he lived in Ellsworth for the last 44 years, and he moved back to Canfield recently. And very recently he had a heart attack, and he said that they responded and was there in less than 1 minute and 30 seconds and saved his life. And he said if he still lived in Ellsworth, he wouldn't be here with us today. So, and I want to commend the fact that we have the most excellent EMTs and ambulances run. We're very fortunate.
Absolutely.
So,
I've used them a few
good
times.
story to share.
You laugh.
Bang, bang.
And that's all I have on that.
Okay, I would entertain residents that have questions about these particular reports that you've just heard. Try to keep your comments brief if you could, please. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to individuals looking to address council. And Patty, do I have the paper?
Should be there.
I don't have it.
Thanks, Lucia.
I'm trying to look at it. Oh, they're trying to look at it? Okay, sorry. Oh, yes, I have it. This individual, Frank McKee.
Good evening, Frank McKee, 220 Glenview. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the winners and the potential winners. We have ironed this a lot. Good luck to all. And John, I've also put myself online. I did not expose myself, however.
No,
You could have rephrased that a little bit.
well, you knew what I meant.
Anyway, I'd like to talk about fiscal responsibility a little bit tonight. A prime example of what not to do is the Red Gate Farm. It was purchased in 2003. So far, we have about $4 million in it, and we still owe $300,000. We have established a land link to the city, and that's probably making the best of a bad situation. Now we're thinking of borrowing $300,000 to study a sewer system to the farm. Sewer and water lines would probably cost several $1 million. Before spending any more money, would it not be wise to get a commitment from someone? Are we going to build a sewer to nowhere? No retail business is going there. Commercial use seems to be a long shot. Will residential use ever pay off the investment? So far this year, the city has issued 2 residential home permits for the city. The demand is not there. This is not a growing area. My opinion, spend no more money on the farm. Cut our losses and sell it. All this $4 million could have done wonders for our city. Another example of fiscal responsibility, is subsidizing the school resource officers. The current agreement is costing the city $500,000 over a 5-year period. Council approved this. I did not vote for the police levy to help pay for school resource officers. The money would have been better spent on flooding issues. The schools have the responsibility for safety. My opinion, can we renegotiate this contract? And don't do it again. In April, this council entered an agreement with MS Consultants to develop a comprehensive plan for the city. The cost is $150,000. Other studies have come in up. Council is confident this study will bear fruit. Wage agreements for the city, safety forces, and administrative people for 2018, 19, and 20 involve all 46 employees. My conservative estimate of these agreements above the 2017 baseline is the cost exceeds $500,000. I wonder if the finance director can put a real number on this. I'm not saying city employees should not be fairly compensated. I'm wondering where the money comes from. Next year, 2020, a new contract will be negotiated with the safety forces for 21, 22, and 23. It's the past president. Where will the money come from? Keep in mind the police levy ends in 2022. The levy has contributed close to $800,000 per year to maintain the current safety force level. It will not be there in 2023. You can only go to the well so many times before it runs dry. In my opinion, we're looking at reduced services or increased taxes in the not too distant future. One final thought, if the city borrows $300,000 for the Red Gate sewer study, the city debt will be around $1 million. Personally, I'm not comfortable with the city's financial situation. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Okay. I'll entertain anybody wishing to address council. Hearing none, we'll move on to old business. We have no old business. We'll move into new business. And again, A and B ordinance will be first reading. So as per the provisions of section 4.05 Charter City of Canfield, I move that council dispense with the requirement of full reading of the proposed ordinance and authorized reading by title only. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Oliver.
Mr. Duffett?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mrs. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
And Mr. Tisch, could you do first reading on A,
Mr.
please?
President, I have an ordinance amending Canfield codified ordinance, the boundaries of the designated community reinvestment areas of the city. This constitutes first reading.
And Patty, do we want to set, no, because we have a second reading. Okay. B, as per the provisions of section 4.05 Charter City of Canfield, I move that council dispense with the requirement of a full reading of the proposed ordinance and authorized reading by title only. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Tisch.
Mr. Duffett?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mrs. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
And Mr. Neff, could you, first reading B, please?
Yes. Mr. Chairperson, I have an ordinance amending Canfield Codified Ordinance Chapter 513 regarding marijuana. This constitutes first reading.
Thank you. As per the provisions of section 4.05 Charter City of Canfield, I move that council dispense with the requirement of 2 readings of proposed ordinance and authorize adoption of the same upon its first reading. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Neff.
Mr. Duffett?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mrs. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
As per the provisions of section 4.05 Charter City of Canfield, I move that council dispense with the requirement of a full reading of the proposed ordinance and authorized reading by title only. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Oliver.
Mr. Duffett?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mrs. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
And Mrs. Oliver, could you do C for me, please?
Mr. President, I have an ordinance amending Chapter 901, street excavations of the codified ordinances of the city of Canfield, and we move for passage.
I do have a motion, I need a second. Second, Mr. Tisch. And Wade, could you give us a briefing, please?
Sure. Council, this is something that Public Works Superintendent John Rapp actually brought up, and it made a whole lot of sense. We've got our street excavation ordinance currently requires a permit anytime a utility company or construction company will excavate in our streets. This kind of beefs up some of those requirements, requiring a permit, adding a penalty section if they don't come back to restore the street and just leave it kind of with just backfill and gravel. And yeah, it has bonding requirements so that if they don't, we can always pay for the cost through that bonding requirement. And then part of the action needed is we'll just also need a motion to set a fee for the street excavation permit, which we currently don't have a fee for. We just have the permit requirement.
Okay, good. Council, any questions, concerns? Mr. Tisch?
Is the bond going to be like an insurance type bond, or are they going to provide us a cash bond?
I believe it's an insurance type bond.
Insurance type bond?
Yeah.
What's our experience been on going after those?
We haven't had too many at all, really. One time, I think we've gone after a bond and got it. Big G.
The requirement, the violation says it'll be fined no more than $100. That seems like an awfully small fine. It probably is $1,000 to fix the street excavation or more.
Well, the bond will actually pay for the repairs of the street.
Yeah.
The penalty is just to kind of that enforcement of, we're going to charge you $100 for not complying with that. And then they're also, again, the recommendation for the permit fee, at council's discretion, but our recommendation is also $100.
The permit fee has to be reasonably related to the administrative cost of, processing the application. We think $100 is fair.
Okay. Would ask residents at this time if they have questions about this particular ordinance to please. Okay, hearing none. Patty?
Mr. Duffett?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mrs. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
2019-54.
Okay, as for the provisions of section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move that council dispense with the requirement of a full reading of the proposed motion and authorized reading by title only. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Tisch.
Mr. Duffett?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mrs. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
Mayor Duffett, could you do D for me?
I sure can. Mr. President, I have a motion changing the date of the first regularly scheduled council meeting in January. I move for passage.
Okay, I have a motion. I need a second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Neff. And Patty, we're changing this to the
January 2nd.
January 2nd, which is a Thursday.
Right.
Right, okay. Okay, any questions, council? None? Residents? Okay, Patty?
Mr. Duffett?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mrs. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
2019-17.
Mr. Neff, I'd ask that you ask us to go in executive session, please.
Were we doing a motion with regard to the fee for the?
Right.
Yeah, just the motion to establish a fee for the street excavation permit.
Okay, does somebody want to make that motion?
I make the motion.
And that was for what amount?
$100.
Okay, I have a motion, I do need a second. Second, Mr. Neff?
Mr. Duffett?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mrs. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
2019-18.
Mr. Neff? Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22G1 to consider the discipline of or investigate complaints against a public employee.
Second.
I have a motion Mrs. Oliver has seconded.
Mr. Duffett?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Neff?
Yes.
Mrs. Oliver?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
If we're all in agreement, I would like council to be in the executive session along with council, Wade, and I'm going to ask Mr. Nakarada to join us, if that's okay.
I don't think we should have it among council. Just council.
Okay.
You want counselor in there or not? Sure.
Okay. Wade, you're excused. What about Mr. Nakarada?
I think it should just be us.
Just us? Okay.
All
All right. Anthony, you're excused.